I was just talking for 5 minutes. Why did he say anything? No one could hear me.
Hear anybody talking?
We were all just kind of quiet.
We have to restart now.
Hey, we don't get quiet very often.
Okay. I hope you read along with me. Okay, so the next person is a great partner to her co-teacher and fellow teachers, willing to sit on the floor and play with her students, be silly and have fun while teaching. This person's not afraid to ask questions and to ask for support when needed, which is extremely important. Implements newly learned classroom management strategies and tries new approaches without fear. It's Miss Emily Joyce and Miss Missy, or Miss May, as her students call her. So congratulations to those two lovely ladies. They worked so hard in the month of July, and they overcame many obstacles in the last month. So we wanted to give them the award of super staff members. Your awards and your gift cards will be in your mailboxes. A lot of people are having trouble with Zoom tonight. So if you don't see it, I'm going to do my best to put all the pieces of our videos together and make one video on YouTube. So if you don't get through, it's okay. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. All right. Welcome to Sneeze for Equality. I think I forgot somebody, so please forgive me. We had quite a few friendly people start this past week, so I might have forgot somebody. Miss Kimberly, she's working in toddlers and twos. She's kind of filling out where she feels most comfortable. It's under discussion about where she'll be in a permanent position. So we're still working on that since it's only her second day today. Samantha just started today. She's working to be one of our preschool co-teachers, we hope. Brenda is yet to start. She just came in for a tour today and she's very excited. She's sending in her fingerprint cards that she should be cleared to go next week. She's from New York and she's thinking about being a preschool co-teacher, either Sneeze Ferry Quality or Halle Ridge Quality. We're working on both choices as well. Miss Latoya has been in room 4 as a co-teacher, and we'll see how it's going in there when we check in with her. And more new hires are starting in the next few weeks, so please ensure they feel welcome and supported, which you've been doing. And thank you so much for that, those of you who have been working with our new staff members and training them. August newsletter was created by Miss Ruby, and it is just lovely. It goes over everything that's important in the month of August. It talks about our 80 Care project and how we were partnered with them and what we got to do and what benefits we took from that partnership. The reminders for families, you know, no toys in the classroom, things like that. Some people have nice red bold signs outside their classroom that says no toys from home, or please don't bring toys to school. We can make you one so you can post it on your door as well, because it seemed to have helped those classrooms who were struggling with that. There's going to be changes and new faces. So Miss Ruby put a nice note out there for families to know that we will have new teachers coming in. Changes for your child may be occurring where they're moving into different classrooms, and that flexibility and understanding and cooperation is essential so that everything runs smoothly. Dates to remember, we got some stuff going on here, and then summer wrap up. So we have lots of things happening. We want parents. So if you are a teacher of students who are going to be entering kindergarten, you want to make sure that those parents know if they need transportation to or from school from us, they have to let the office know. If you are a summer camp teacher for the school agers, please make sure that those parents come to the office or message or something saying, yes, we need before care, we need after care, whatever the case may be. Or even, no, we used it in the past, but we actually don't need it anymore, because we may be thinking that those people who've been working with us and using us for years are still going to need us, but they might not. So if they voice that to you, please make sure that it's relayed to the office. New hires and reminders for everyone else. So I say this every time. I know I sound like a broken record, but some of these things are still not getting done. Please do not park in the front row at the front of the main building for the whole day. Please, if you are a parent of 3, like me, and I've been bringing my new baby Adam with me, so I need to be able to carry him in, drop everybody off, and then I move my vehicle to either Cancun or in between lot, which I don't know if that's okay or not. I might get a ticket soon, but I'm doing it. So that's at your own risk. But for Cancun area, where our second building is, that's our lot too. So you park there after you've dropped your kids off, just like if you were every other parent going to work for the day. So you use the front row because you're dropping your children off as a client of our services. And then you bring your car to the other building where you would park for your other job. And then you walk to your building of employment. So please keep that in mind. I took a little video today because I was just shocked. When I walked out of the building, there were only 3 parent parking spots. 3. I mean, that's crazy talk because parents who are coming in and out, where are they going to park? They have to go all the way to the breakfast house, which is filling up at that time, or they have to park where I park, or they're going to makeshift a parking spot, which might cause an accident. So we want to make sure that if you are a staff member and you are capable of walking the distance from Cancun's lot, our second building's lot, over to the front of the building, please do so. Also, that fence that Ruby and I use sometimes, that's open until Ruby gets to work most days. So if you want to go through there, that goes through room 6, and you can go through there into the building if you're having a difficult time going to the very front of the building. If you have questions or concerns, please come see me. I just would like it if our customers could use the parking spots that they're entitled to drop their many children off. Clock in at most 5 minutes before your shift starts. So please don't do the 10-minute, 15 minutes before, because it really adds up. It looks like you're working an extra hour at the end of the pay week, but in actuality, you were just clocking in so many minutes before and so many minutes early from your lunch. Take your full lunch, take your hour lunch, and then clock back in within those 5 minutes, because you're entitled to that hour break, and that will make sure that it's consistent, and that at the end of the pay week, Joyce enters payroll, and it really looks very close to 40 hours instead of 41.5 or 42 hours, because of those extra minutes that you happen to clock in early or clock, it adds up. So please make sure you're conscientious of that. Always ask questions. Let administration know how you're doing and be honest. If we don't know, we can't help. That's one of Joyce's favorite saying, is that if we don't know there's a problem, we can't help you resolve the issue. If you're a flex teacher, please ask the teachers when you go into a new room, what can you do to help? What are they in the middle of? Hopefully they have their teacher ABC chart up. So if your teacher C in that moment, then they can say, okay, I'm teacher A and I'm changing diapers. So you just look for teacher A when they're changing diapers, and you can say, okay, I'm teacher C. This is what you want me to do right now. Work with a small group and play in blocks. And we're going to talk about shapes and building and height difference and what kind of animals will live here. And you can just go on and on with those students in the small group that you're engaging with. But at no point should you be sitting on the sidelines watching. That's what babysitters do. We are educators. We are working with children and educating them every chance we get. We are working and engaging our students. So if you're not busy doing something else, you are with children. You are with them. You're not across the room, yelling at them across the room. You're with them. Seasoned staff members are here to help and support. These are all reminders. So I'm just going to put them down here. Please make sure that you know your purses and phones should be locked in the closet. Please, I don't want to see your phone on top of the housekeeping shelving unit. I don't want to see your phone on top of the diaper changing table. Please make sure your phone is away. Okay. Positive reinforcements. We say this often, making sure that you take whatever their struggle is and you give them the positive. You tell them what you want to see in the classroom. So if they're running around the classroom, we use walking feet. You can walk, you can march, or you can tiptoe. So I just gave them 3 positive choices. They have the power to choose one of those ways of moving, but one of them's not running. So I gave them choices. If they're younger, you probably just want to give them 2 choices. We can walk or we can march. And then you just start singing the ants go marching, and they march behind you. And then those runners, they're no longer running. They're marching and they're singing and they're happy, and they've transitioned themselves into doing what is a positive choice. Okay, those Itters and Eckers checklists, we've gotten quite a few back, but we haven't gotten them all back. So if you still have them hiding, maybe like popped them on top of a shelf and you kind of forgot about it, we would love those lists back so we can order you within the budget, within the time that we have, what you need. Then we'll start getting on the things that you want. So if you have things that your classroom truly needs, like you don't have enough rotation toys, you are missing sand and water play buckets or tables, Those are things that you should be writing down so that when we do get assessed again, I'm not buying thousands of dollars worth of items because those rooms were lacking this whole time. They should never be lacking. We should always be itters, eckers, and sakers ready. We're just kind of replacing the things that break and making sure that things are in good working order. Usually the books are the first to go. So if you need new books for the school year, I will do my best to make sure I can fulfill all of the requests and requirements you have for your library. And then hopefully we don't have to do it again for too long, because we're going to teach our kids how to respect books. Making sure that we teach them how to hold a book, how to read a book. We're not throwing books, we're not eating books. Some of them love to eat books. And if you need those indestructibles, I got you. I can order indestructibles. This is hanging on the bathroom door, so I'm not even going to bore you with it. It's how we should speak with the students, making sure that we're not doing the negative, we're talking about the positive and reinforcing our expectations. So this is stating behavioral expectations in advance. This is so key when you're starting a brand new school year. We'll go into trainings and things like that on the 25th, but I really wanted you to watch this video because it's so helpful now, because you're going to practice it now and then perfect it by the time the 28th comes. Use these students now as like your trial and error period. Make sure that you're working with them, you are teaching them expectations before the task, before the transition, so that you are eliminating those negative, unwanted behaviors before they could even start. You wouldn't even know they're going to do them because you took care of them beforehand. This video is very short. I'm going to play it for you. Let's make sure the volume is good to go. Boop. Okay. And while you're watching, just think about what you do in the classroom to prepare your children for transitions, to prepare them for activities. Do you state your expectations? Do you model what you're expecting? Think about those things as we're watching.
Welcome to this short module on stating behavioral expectations. In this module, we focus on the importance of stating expectations for the children in their preschool classrooms, and we offer 4 steps to guide teachers' planning. Stating behavioral expectations in advance is a proactive teaching strategy that helps to prevent problem behavior. The House framework was developed by the National Center on Quality Teaching and Learning to highlight and organize the important components of quality teaching and learning and to show how the components work together. Stating behavioral expectations in advance fits into the foundation of the House. It's a foundational teaching strategy. There are lots of reasons why children might not know all the behaviors that are expected of them in their preschool classrooms. The child might be new to school or to the experience of playing and learning with a group of children. The child may be moving into a new classroom. There also may be a few differences between what's expected at school and what's expected at home or in other places. We've all found ourselves in new situations and in new places where we felt a bit uncomfortable. It helps to have someone be the guide, to tell us what's expected, and help us feel more comfortable and confident. In the preschool classroom, the teacher can be the guide and can teach the children the expectations and help them be successful. Behavioral expectations are the appropriate behaviors expected from children during specific activities and routines. For example, the teacher may expect children to use quiet voices when inside the classroom, or raise their hands at circle time when they have ideas or answers, or say please and thank you when passing the food at mealtime. Teachers state the behavioral expectations by saying what they want to see. It's helpful to think of the steps that make up the teaching strategy of stating behavioral expectations in advance. Even though teachers use this strategy in the moment they are interacting with children, it actually requires planning outside of classroom time. Here are the 4 steps: anticipate, develop a plan, prepare the children, and recognize children's appropriate behavior. To anticipate behaviors means that the teacher needs to do some work ahead of time. The teacher thinks through the activities and routines of the school day and asks questions like, what happens when the children arrive? Or, what are the expectations for free choice or for time at the infant area? Do the children get to choose? Are there a limited number of spots at each center? Do the children need to clean up after each center? There are many questions to be answered. This work can be done with the teaching team so that all the adults in the classroom know the expectations. The next step is to plan. Write out the expectations in a positive way. Write what you want the children to do. Plan and gather the teaching materials that may be needed to help children learn the expectations. Some teachers use posters or pictures or stories. The third step is to prepare the children for what you expect to see, your expectations. This can be done by stating the expectation at the beginning of the activity or before the transition to the next activity. Check to make sure that children really understand. And repeat the expectations often, especially at the beginning of the school year or when a child is new to the classroom.
What color is that? Can she watch with you? Does she have one of the magnifying glasses?
And now the fourth step, recognize and acknowledge children's appropriate behavior. Teachers can do this by making positive statements, making eye contact and giving smiles, or sending notes home. There are lots of ways to recognize children as they are learning the behavioral expectations of classroom activities.
I see somebody raising their hand. So look at there, caring and being respectful.
This module highlighted the teaching strategy we call stating behavioral expectations. This is a proactive strategy that helps children feel more comfortable and confident in their classrooms. And it's a strategy that can prevent problem behaviors from occurring. Please see our tips and tools and helpful resources that accompany this. Okay. Well, that was a valuable video to watch, worthwhile because it applies to all age groups, not infants, but even toddlers. It definitely applies because you can break things down for your little ones. So the 4 steps of stating behavioral expectations, like they said, were anticipate, develop a plan, prepare the children, and recognize children's appropriate behaviors. So you want to recognize by acknowledging what they're doing. So anticipate, you need to do a little work ahead of time. It's just like when you're planning your lessons. You might be teaching how they're supposed to react or behave or what you expect when they're lining up. And that's maybe in the first 2 weeks of school because you want to make sure that they understand what is expected. So that's part of the anticipate component. Think through the activities and routines of the school day. Look at your schedule. Do you foresee there being an issue? Maybe it's that in-between time when they're getting ready for lunch, or maybe it's the transition from lunch to rest time. That seems to be a chaotic time because you're trying to get pull-ups done or diapers done. You're trying to make sure that the kids' hands are washed. You're trying to make sure little Billy's not jumping on his cot and he's going to bust his head open on the shelving unit. So making sure that they know what is expected. You go over it. You have other kids model it. That's going to be key to making sure that your classroom runs smoothly, and lots of practice. Anticipate the struggles you may encounter and try to eliminate them. Now, you're not going to eliminate all of them. That's crazy. But the ones that you can foresee, you can start there. And then you kind of see, oh, they did this. Next time, we're going to work on addressing that before we even start the process again. So sample questions to ask yourself: what happens when the children arrive? What happens during free choice? Do the children get to choose during free choice, or do you assign them the first few weeks and then start to give them that independence of choosing? Because you want to make sure that there's the right number of children in each center. You want to make sure that they are acclimating well with other students, because if 2 friends come together from another class, you can bet that they're going to stick together throughout the time in your class. But maybe you want these 2 friends to get used to other individuals in the classroom. So you want to separate them and get them used to other individuals to make sure they're more comfortable with new friends. And you're going to work with your teaching team or co-teacher so everyone's on the same page. So when you and your co-teacher are together, you guys have the same mission. But when your flex teacher comes in, they know what's your goal for this week. You can have it written. You could have just messaged them quickly, hey, we're going to work on this before transitions this week, so you know what to look out for, and they're not left in the dark. Because then you guys working as a team is going to go real far. Planning, write out the expectations in a positive way. So you always want to make sure that you're not saying things like, don't fill in the blank. Don't run when we're going to get online, because then you're putting that word run right in their brain and they're gonna run. But if you say we walk to get to the line, or we tiptoe today to get online, or we bunny hop our way to get out, whatever it is, you're giving them something that's a positive choice, maybe 2 of them if they're older, and then they can pick one of those 2 choices to get online to go outside, versus you saying don't run
or we don't run, because that's exactly what they're going to think about. Write what you want the children to do. It's good to write it down. That way you know, and whoever comes in your room, they also know. And write out the materials or supplies you'll need to carry it out. If you need extra supplies, maybe you want one of those ropes for a week or two to make sure everybody has a spot. They know what a line looks like. We can get that for you. NC Pre-K, I think they have 3 of them now. So maybe you borrow one for 2 weeks and then we give it back. And that way you have a material or a resource that supports what you want. And plan and gather the teaching materials to help them learn. So if you're going to create a poster together, an anchor chart about all the things, maybe you're taking pictures of them while they're in action, print them, put them up, and use them all year as a reference. That's fantastic because your children are engaged and they have a buy-in because their pictures on the wall. All right, or you could write stories, which is a little more time consuming, but the kids love it. If you read a story that includes them and pictures and their name, they love it. Prepare, stating the expectations before the activity or the transition to the next activity. So you speaking, showing, modeling, having one of your children who you know may struggle with this, they're your model for that opportunity. Check to make sure the children really understand. Someone repeats the expectation, someone acts it out, and choose a child who may have difficulty, like I just said. Repeat the expectations often. Don't think you're going to show it once and they're going to get it. You have to beat this thing. You have to make sure that they know you do it till you're like, they have to get it by now. But then you do it 10 more times because they may not get it at that point, and you just want to make sure that from then on it is expected. So maybe at the beginning of the school year, you spend several weeks going through your expectations, taking it nice and slow and modeling. Then after weekends, then after breaks that we have, those are times you want to reemphasize it. And recognize, make positive statements. These kids eat up positive reinforcement. I love the way Shannon she's standing there nice and straight. Her hands are by her side. She's ready to go outside. Everyone else in that row will copy because they want the positive praise too. Maintain eye contact and smiles, making sure that you are acknowledging that child, you're down on their level, and you acknowledge what they're doing. You're recognizing that they are following that expectation that you provided. Send notes home or messages on ProCare. Little Billy was struggling with this last week, but he is having a fantastic time getting the hang of it now. He has thought of his own method, and we shared it with the rest of the class because maybe they want to brainstorm how they're going to get to line tomorrow. During pickup time or dismissal, you really want to recognize these things with families, especially if you have some struggles throughout the day. You kind of want to give them the positive goals or the needs and then the positive sandwich. That way your parents don't leave with all negative thoughts in their brains. So I included these here. We're not going to show them today, but they go with what we were just talking about. So if you want to revisit, these videos will be shared with you through the PowerPoint. This is the importance of schedules and routines. Extremely important throughout your year, making sure that the routines are expected. These kids thrive on knowing what comes next. They will ask you, when do mommy and daddy come? And every day you'll be able to point at your schedule and show them mommy and daddy come after rest, after nap, and when we're outside. That's usually in the fall, or when we're doing free choice after that or after snack. So they need to visually understand what is expected. Okay, and then classroom transitions goes hand in hand with this as well. I've showed you this video before, but if you want to revisit it now that they're all connected together, I put it in here for you as well. Preparing for transitions. This one's from Conscious Discipline. It's a Facebook video. They don't let me post them on the PowerPoint, so I put the link there for you. And then knowing to ask yourself these questions. What are some successful ways you prepare your students for transition? What works right now for you and your kids in this moment while you're teaching now before you practice more things? What's been working for you? What are some hurdles you've encountered? Every single teacher has encountered some hurdles. What are those? And now we got to brainstorm how we're going to overcome those hurdles next week. We can make a plan. Which transitions are the smoothest in your room and why? Maybe your smoothest transition is lining up for outdoor time. Why is that? What do you do differently for that transition? And which transitions are the toughest in your room? Maybe going down for rest time is your toughest transition. Why is that? Is there too much going on? Is there not enough explicit instruction and expectations stated for your children? And if you could provide one tip about transitions, what would you share with fellow teachers? Thinking about what would you share if you could give some positive advice to somebody else? Okay, moving on. So that was our little training for today. I have exciting news. So I've been talking with Christina, who is our insurance agent, and she works for the insurance people. She tries to find us the best deals out there, and we're up for renewal for our United Healthcare. United Healthcare decided to increase to 9% more than what they were last year, which is insane. So Christina did some homework for us, and she found that Aetna has the best deal. I think it's amazing because it's actually half of what is being paid right now, pretty much half. So if you want the basic plan, any full-time employee is eligible to take over and join our healthcare. So this is why I'm sharing it. The base plan is silver. I don't know how they're going to say it, but 8,800 maybe. Primary care visits, urgent care, telemedicine, walk-in clinics, preventative care, and tier 1 drugs are free. You do not have to pay copays. Other services would be subject to a deductible. So if you needed the emergency room, if you needed a specialist. So if you're a person who frequents the doctors because of many different things, ailments, you have tier 2 medications, this may not be for you because you might wind up spending more out of pocket every time you go. You really have to think about where your costs lie. It's a great plan for employees who need basic care and looking for a low-cost plan. And the weekly cost would be $37.86. So that's after taking the 50% that we pay. That's what you would pay out of pocket every week. It would take out of your pay stub. The middle, so this time we're gonna have 3 plans instead of just the 2. The 3 she suggested because they're so different, but they're also great. Middle plan is the silver 4,000. This would provide coverage for employees who want to copay for specialists. So if you need specialists and you've been visiting specialists and you know you need that, this is probably the one you want to do. Full drug coverage, but still want a lower cost than a gold plan. The weekly cost would be $42.65. And then the gold plan. So this is like the Rolls Royce of plans. People who, like my husband, need to visit the doctor often and specialists, and he's got a shoulder problem right now, so we got to take care of the shoulder problem, and I know that it's going to be costly if I choose one of the other plans. So I have to make sure that I balance it out. I have to know, okay, so this is what's going to be taken out of my check every week, which is $57.56, but is it worth it versus what they're going to charge me for the specialist if I were to choose the first tier plan, the first plan? So you really have to do the math for yourselves. I can't speak for you, but I can tell you that Christina is great. So I put her information there. If you have questions or you kind of want to talk about your specific situation, contact her. That's also her cell phone number right there. So if you want to just text her, hey, this is so-and-so from Sneeds Ferry Quality or Holly Ridge Quality. I would really like to know more about this plan. I have this going on. What do you recommend? She'll be fantastic to guide you. She's also the contact for our SunLife. So if you need help with dental and vision and you can't really decide if you need it or not, or what's included, she will guide you there too. Information packet. So each of these plans, there's a nice thick packet that goes with it. It gives you the breakdown. It gives you what you're expected to pay in certain scenarios. So it's like Judy needs to have a baby, and this is what Judy would pay if she was on this plan. And then you go to the next packet. This is what Judy would pay if she was on this plan. And then you can kind of compare what's going to be the more out-of-pocket expense for you in the end if you were Judy. But they have other scenarios too, like little Big Bill has a heart issue, so Big Bill needs these things, and this is what you would pay. Please make sure that all your applications are in to me by August 25th. Please give them to me, put them in my mailbox, because I will scan them and send them right to Christina. Whereas if you give them to someone else, it might get lost in translation, and then we're looking for it when you filled out all this personal information. And then the plan will be active September 1st. So we want to make sure that everything's in by the 25th. I double check with everybody. That's the plan you want. We're good. Okay, so it's going to be active September 1st. And that means that Joyce will start taking out that amount from your check that week. So that pay stub will be when the first amount is removed from your check. So just keep that in mind and budget cautiously. Teacher work
Is there
day.
any change- I'm sorry, is there any change in the vision and dental plan?
No, so Christina saw that they're not raising the rates and it's exactly the same, so she's going to recommend that we keep it. So with SunLife, if you're already registered for SunLife Dental or Vision or both, you're good to go. But if you want it now, I'll give you the packet for enrollment and the information. Yeah. And that window closes the same day, September 1st. So the teacher workday is Friday, August 25th. We're all gonna work 8 to 4. Everybody. And we will do 4 hours of workshops and training. They're gonna be awesome. And then we're gonna do 4 hours of working in classrooms. Or if you're a flex teacher, you don't really have your own classroom, you're going to be joining either other classrooms or working around the schools. Or you have the option to leave, but you cannot get paid for those 4 hours. So if you want the full 8 hours that day, you do have to work the 8 hours. At least 4 of
I'm
them.
gonna jump in really quick.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of our flex teachers have mandatory training that they need to complete. So if they're not helping a classroom or a team, you guys should it's highly recommended that you guys complete your training while you're getting paid, instead of leaving early. But you know, to each their own.
To each his own, right? And you have active rest time. We have several laptops. So if you're in a room covering a lunch and you want to take care of some of your health and safety trainings, you are welcome to do that. Phones work okay, but laptops are much better for Moodle. So if you need a laptop, just holler and we will bring you one if there's one available. That way you can bang them out. You don't have to do them at home in your PJs, which I like doing trainings in my PJs, but to each his own. So lunch will be served by Joyce and myself. We're going to decide if we're going to cater it or cook, but either way, you will be fed for free. So that's fun. And there will be raffles. There will be fun games. Joyce had bingo for the last one. So we're going to do bingo on this one. So those will be prizes. We have some good prizes for that bingo game. There will be no childcare provided. So it didn't really pan out the way we wanted it to the previous times. We had to hire people and it was just crazy. So they can play, if you can't find alternative care, they will be in another classroom. You can check on them as often as you want. My daughter Eden will probably be there playing with them as well. And I mean, it's just like we're at home. So if you want to go check on your kids and they're in earshot in the room next door, that's pretty much what we're doing. They'll eat with us if you want them to eat with us. And then when you're working in your classroom, they'll just join you in your classroom, or they can keep playing in that same room. If you have questions about this, or you think you know someone who can monitor the children, then let me know and we'll talk about that. But as of right now, that business that we used, they're no longer active. So I couldn't really reach out to someone who could provide me with caretakers for our crew of kids. Yeah, Stephanie, if you would like to ask Madison, that would be fantastic. I can definitely pay her for working that day. I just didn't want to take someone who I wanted her to do the trainings too. So if she'd rather be with the kids but she'd miss out on the training. So that's kind of like what I didn't want. I didn't want people to miss out because it is very beneficial. Okay, so we'll talk about it. All right. New year, new students, new placements, new you. Lots of movement to prepare for August 28th. We want you to please make sure that you understand this is like the craziest time. There's so much going on. People are in new positions. Children are moving flat, like chunks of children are moving classrooms at one time. So your meal program list will be a bit chaotic. Your ProCare list will be a bit chaotic, but please be patient. Message admin or let us know with a list of things that you notice that are just not making sense yet, and we will work on it. So just keep in mind, that's why we have our teacher workday on the 25th. So we're going to try to eliminate many of those problems as we can, but come the 28th, there might be some things that we have to alleviate that day or the day after. So just patience is what we ask for, because we have a lot of movement that day. Okay, I talked about this last time as well, but end of the day procedure, since we do have some brand new flex teachers and teachers who are working to the end of the day, Please make sure the diaper changes are done if you are a lead or a co, and you are the last lead or co to leave from that room. So for example, in room 10, Miss Dawn leaves at 4:30. Say her co-teacher leaves at 5 o'clock. That co-teacher would need to make sure that all those diapers, and Miss Dawn too, obviously, are changed prior to that person leaving. So maybe Miss Dawn starts the diapers, and then by 5 o'clock, her co-teacher finishes those diapers so that every child has been changed up to 5 o'clock. Now, if a kid poops, obviously the people who take over for you are going to change a butt, but that means that everyone should be set with that exception. Please make sure faces and noses are wiped. They had snack, they're a little messy, maybe they're snotty from the day. When parents pick up, that's what they see. They think their kid's been like that all day long, even though you probably wiped that kid 30 times that day. Please make sure you're leaving the children and you're handing the children off clean as can be. I mean, as clean as a wipe can get them, because some of them get real gross. Like Mikey, he'll come with stuff in his hair. He's just so gross. But if his face is clean, I know somebody made the effort to wipe his nose. I don't expect you to wash his hair. He's just gross. Every classroom should have someone there until 4:30 who is a part of the classroom. Then flex teachers come in and they typically close down. Okay, closing checklist. You see this all the time. People have been fantastic, for the most part, checking their playgrounds. Even though it's ungodly hot outside, I've noticed, probably because we haven't even gone outside, that there's not that much trash. Everyone's picking up. Those bags are out of the baskets. It's clean. So first impressions of your playground, very neat, very organized. When you go out for water play, and your water play items are shoved on top of the fence, they're put on top of something else, it don't look right. So if you need to store your water play items, we can store them towards the AC unit area, and that way they're all together. Because if you're shoving these plastic items that are water play items on top of toys that the children play with, they might be collecting water, they might be a suffocation hazard when they're not in use. And I really don't want to get some kind of crazy violation because we're putting these items in the wrong spot. So if they're in that slop bucket area by the AC units behind the kitchen, they're in one spot, we know where they are, and children don't have access to them. So please make sure that's where they go when you're done with water play. If you can't move them in time, just radio and we'll probably dry them out and then move them over there if they have to cross the hallway. Scheduling time off. We've asked this before, but please be considerate of the time off. Many people are, and we are very thankful for that. If your co-teacher is off and you know they have doctor's appointments, maybe you schedule your doctor's appointments the day after. That way you're not both out on the same day, because that's crazy. We have other flex teachers coming into your room trying to manage your room. And if you're a person who likes your room kept a certain way, I can guarantee you when you come back the next day, it will not look the way you left it, because you had two people just trying to manage the chaos the whole day. That's really all that was happening. So please make sure one of you is in the room each day. I understand things happen, but as best you can. Sub-plans, that would be great. But if you can't do sub-plans, then maybe making sure your lesson plans that are posted are not just a book. Maybe write what you're going to do with the book. Maybe you're doing open-ended questioning and you write one of the questions. Maybe they're going to do a craft that tags onto the book. But that little extra detail and making sure that your materials are prepared for the next day makes a huge difference for someone taking over your classroom.
Well,
So we know all these are legal documents, all the incident reports. If you are a new staff member and you have yet to experience writing one, please make sure that you tag on and watch when someone's writing one, or they can guide you. So say, I've never seen a bite report written. Can you show me? Yeah, sure. The next time, and it might happen in the next 2 days, you see a bite happen, or they can just walk you through and then tear it up because it's not a real one. They just wanted to show you the process, but it's good to see one done, and then you can carry them out yourself. Making sure that you are supervising your students. We said this last time, but I do want to reiterate that hanging outside of your classroom, watching down the hallway, no. We're in our room, we're with our students, and we're constantly engaged with them. So if you need to write a name on the whiteboard, of course, go write the name on the whiteboard, put the whiteboard back, and you're back in your room and you're with students. I was watching some videos this week because of some things that were happening in the classrooms, and I saw a lot of this. They were sitting on shelving units. They were sitting on a chair in the classroom at a table, but they were not doing anything with the children in the room. So this is a general message to everybody. Please make sure you are engaging with students. You are making sure you're asking them those open-ended questions. You're playing with them. You're teaching colors. You're talking about the fantastic structures they're building. Every moment we have with them is an opportunity to engage them and teach them. So please make sure you're doing so.
Shannon, can I say one more thing about that? Because we've had an excess of teachers for the first time in a very long time. Today, especially, supposed to be tomorrow. We've had almost 3 teachers in a lot of our rooms, believe it or not, which is awesome. And some of our numbers have been lower in our classrooms. Please remember that that is not a time to walk around the hallways or to leave the classrooms. Take advantage of the opportunity to be able to do more work with your kids, to be able to work on behaviors or whatever it is you need. But I promise you, if we see you just walking around the hallway because your numbers were within, we're going to take the extra person out of the room, whether it's just because you're low in kids or because you have a third person. You're telling us you don't need them. So we'll put them somewhere else where they will be appreciated and they will need them.
Very true. Yeah, and leaving your room, I mean, some people say, oh, I need to go get paper towels because we are low on paper towels. That becomes a slippery slope because then paper towels become other things and then a pit stop and then, oh, I got to go to the bathroom for the 3rd time. So please be mindful that
Widows or copies or
yeah. We have active rest in our 2 and up classrooms. So if you are graced with 3 individuals in your classroom and you have that ABC chart of teacher jobs, everyone should have something that they are doing. And especially if you have a child who has been testing the waters, maybe they're brand new to your room and they really need to learn what the expectations are. So you can work with them on different scenarios. Or maybe they're a child who struggles to regulate themselves emotionally, and you need to sit with them and maybe just play a game with that one child because they were seeking attention all those times in all the wrong ways. This is your opportunity to give them the positive attention and show them that if they're looking for attention, they were going about it the wrong way. Here's the right way. And then you engage with them, you talk to them, you play with them, and you laugh with them, and you build that relationship. That's your opportunity right there, because you're the one who's going to be there when that flex teacher leaves the room for the next, whatever, lunch coverage. So you want to make sure you're building those relationships. That's a great opportunity to do that. This is for SunLife and Vision and Dental that Joyce was asking about. It's the same. They haven't changed the cost of it, but these are the things that you get for those plans. It's very basic breakdown. There's much more detailed packets like for the health insurance. So if you want the packets, I can give them to you. You can also come back to the PowerPoint and reference it if you need to. I talked about this last time. This is for the simple IRA. Some people are used to hearing about Roth IRAs. This is a simple IRA because we're a small business and Joyce and I it's a family-owned business. So we have the control of choosing a simple IRA, which gives you more benefit than a Roth IRA if you were to work for a corporation. So it's a great way to save money. If you want to know more about it, if you click those links, they'll give you details about what happens every paycheck, how you set it up. If you sign up, it's so straightforward. I mean, you click that second link, you prove that you're an employee at our company, and then you put in how much you want to take out every week. So Joyce and I have no control over what you're doing. So don't come tell us you want to do it. You just go in and you click that link. If you want the link sent to you, I'd be happy to send it to you. But you control how much comes out. So if you say, oh, I want to take out $25 every week, and then suddenly you get a raise and now you want to take out $40 a week, you can increase it that same day and all on your own, all through that website.
Is there a minimum or a maximum amount for that, Shannon?
Yes, I think it's 16,500 a year. So I don't know what happens to the rest of that money if you put in too much, but I just know there's a cap. So the details are in that first link. It'll tell you what your maximum amount every year is, what our contributions are, and you do have to have 2 years vested with us to receive those contributions that we match. So I think it's 1 or 2%. So if you want that 1 or 2%, you have to have worked for us for 2 years at least. If you want to just put money into a simple IRA, you can do that, but there won't be a match from our company. That's all. The Teach. Miss Ruby is the Teach guru. This is just a little bit about it. So if you have questions about Teach, you want to enroll in college, and you want to get a raise, you want to get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, you want your B through K license, that's what you're going to do. And Miss Ruby is your lady. I can help, but she's really good at it. Okay.
Thank you, thank you. So we just finished putting through all the paperwork for anybody that's starting classes in the next 2 weeks. If we've missed anything or you receive anything from your career coaches, Teach, please make sure you forward that information to me, but I'm pretty sure everyone should have been taken care of for this semester. If you are taking a break, I will harass you in November. And if you want to enroll for the next semester, I will also harass you in November. So be prepared for that.
And you do get raises, you do get bonuses if you complete your Teach agreement. So it's a great incentive if you would like to further your career, but also make some more moolah along the way. I didn't make a slide of this. It was in my notes and I forgot to, but it's been mentioned throughout the last week or two that when admin or somebody who's working the floor moves children, they may not know the whole backstory of a child, me especially, right? I don't spend as much time as I used to at SNEEDS for Equality, and I try to split my time evenly, but sometimes I don't even get to know most of the children who attend our schools. And I used to know everybody's name and I don't. So for example, if I were to move a child because you're over ratio or because we have to send somebody home, the teacher's sick, so I have to bring you down. If I move a child to another room, please understand that I may not know that they are a child who has struggles with behavior. They are a child with allergies. So just notify us, but in a professional way, because somebody did so and they were quite aggravated in the process because the person who moved them didn't know the whole scenario. Now, if you get a child who you know may have difficulties in their realms of behavior, or they do have an allergy, then approach it in a professional, respectful way. I didn't know if you knew, but so-and-so, they really don't do well in here because of XYZ. Or so-and-so has an allergy, so they typically move this other child instead. And if you state that, then that's going to be so helpful instead of the other route that you can take. So just keep in mind that we may not all be knowledgeable about the children in classrooms. And I wish I was just as knowledgeable as I used to be, but I'm not. So I'm just speaking on behalf of myself and the other people who run the floor and in admin that if we don't know, approach with a deft hand, because we just don't know. If we don't know, we don't know. So if you inform us, we know, we won't forget, and we'll make sure that we resolve the issue so that it doesn't become that we're adding too much turmoil to your classroom, or we're taking someone who Pam needs to give a specialized food to or specialized milk to. So just make sure that you're kind when people do these things, because they are doing a million things just like you are. And I understand we're all in our little bubble. I'm in my little bubble. Everybody else is in their bubble. And sometimes we don't have that perspective of what's happening behind your door. So your trainings that must get done, this is for everybody. Remember, fire safety is every year. SIDS, to do my SIDS. I haven't done my SIDS. But SIDS you have to do every 3 years. And NC Feld is once in your entire time with us. And Seafeld is also on demand, and so is fire safety. So if you want the link to take it at home in your PJs, we can send that to you and you can bang it out at home and get it done. Your health and safeties are through Moodle. Moodle is also on demand. So if you are someone who has to do their Moodles because you're new, or you do Moodles because you're 5 years and you have to do it before your 5th year is over, make sure you do that, because I started when my 5th year was over. So now I'm scrambling. So you have to make sure you do it before your 5th year's over. And what else we got there? Oh, recognizing and responding to child maltreatment. That is part of those first 6 weeks of being with us. So we want to make sure you get it done and you have your certificate in hand. And Miss Ruby and I do CPR. She's been doing it a lot more than me lately, and it's for free. So if you need CPR first aid, we do bloodborne pathogens, AEDs, and EpiPens as well, all in the same training. And then you get it done for free instead of having to pay out of pocket. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to message us. Let us know. You can holler at us in the office. You can call us. And I think if you have a wonderful evening this evening, tomorrow will be a great day. Cassie said that CPR dummy scared me so bad in the she shed when I went in there the other day. I screamed when I closed the door. It startled me too today when I went in there. Oh, speaking of she shed, if you're still on, I wanted to tell you, Mr. John put the new water dispenser. We got it from the IDI project grant. It's a brand new water dispenser. It does hot water, cold water, and he and Johnny get the water jugs that go in there. So feel free to go to the she shed and fill those awesome water bottles that I got you. So you stay hydrated. You don't have to go buy water. And it's nice ice cold, which some people like, or you could put a tea bag in there and have tea for the rest of the day. But it's there and it works. The microwave, if you haven't known, has been borrowed by the kitchen because Miss Pam's microwave was exploding. So we have to order one for the kitchen. She is using the one from the she shed. I understand if you need to walk in to the kitchen to heat up your food, that's just a temporary setback. We will try to measure out the microwave for the kitchen and find one that fits. It's just I can't buy any microwave. It literally has to fit in that space. So we got to make sure that it's precise. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Can I ask that the people who do go into the she shed, if you notice that the water jug is running down, please let us know so we can make sure that John gets another one. Or if the one that's in the machine empties out and you can't lift it, we don't expect you to have to lift it. Let us know so that John or Johnny can pick it up and put it in it. So we don't go in the she shed that much. So please let us know about anything that needs to be taken care of in there.
Yes, please. And if anyone knows where the remote for the AC is, can you let me know? Because when I was closing, I couldn't find it. And it's always at 72 degrees. So if you know, can you just message me so I can know where the remote is for the next time? All right. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and see you tomorrow. Adios.